Hey guys, Barky back with another Iceberg video, and this video will be covering the paranormal entities and phenomena on Iceberg, so strap in, grab yourself a Coke Zero, and enjoy. Also, don't forget to subscribe. I'm trying to reach 15k subs by the end of the year, so let's get right into it. Orbs. Orbs are a phenomenon often associated with paranormal activity, particularly in the context of photography. These orbs appear as circular, translucent shapes that sometimes seem to float in the air. They are usually captured in photographs, especially in those taken with digital cameras in low-light conditions. Several explanations exist for the appearance of orbs, and not all are paranormal in nature. Here are some common explanations. One of the most common explanations for orbs is the presence of airborne particles such as dust, pollen, or moisture. These particles can reflect light back into the camera lens, creating the appearance of a circular orb. In humid environments, water droplets in the air can also reflect light and appear as orbs in photographs. Insects, especially those with reflective or iridescent wings, can create orb-like shapes in photographs when captured by the camera flash. Sometimes internal reflections with the camera lens or between the lens elements can produce orb-like artifacts, particularly when a bright light source is present. And digital cameras, particularly older models, may produce artifacts in low-light conditions, leading to the appearance of orbs. While these explanations are mundane and often scientifically grounded, some individuals associate orbs with paranormal or spiritual activity. Believers argue that orbs represent the presence of spirits, energy, or supernatural entities. Skeptics, on the other hand, contend that the majority of orb phenomena can be explained by natural and non-paranormal factors. Poltergeists. The term poltergeist is derived from the German words poltern, to make noise, and geist, or ghost. A poltergeist is a type of alleged paranormal entity that is said to be responsible for physical disturbances and manifestations, such as moving objects, loud noises, and even physical attacks on individuals. Unlike traditional ghosts, poltergeists are often associated with more active and aggressive behavior. Poltergeists are believed to be capable of moving objects, often in a seemingly random and chaotic manner. This may include levitating or throwing items, banging on walls, or creating loud noises. Some paranormal investigators claim that poltergeist activity is associated with disruptions in electromagnetic fields, leading to malfunctions in electronic devices. Poltergeist activity tends to occur in short bursts or episodes, with intense disturbances happening over a limited period followed by periods of inactivity. Some theories suggest that poltergeist activity may be linked to the subconscious mind of individuals, often adolescents going through periods of emotional stress or turmoil. This psychokinetic theory posits that the disturbances are unintentionally caused by the person experiencing the emotional distress. EVPs. Electronic voice phenomena, or EVP, is a paranormal phenomenon in which unexplained voices or sounds are captured on audio recording devices, typically during investigations related to ghost hunting or paranormal research. The idea is that these mysterious voices are not audible to the human ear at the time of recording, but become apparent when the audio is played back. EVP is often associated with attempts to communicate with spirits or entities from the afterlife. EVP recordings are typically made with devices such as audio recorders, digital voice recorders, or other recording equipment. These devices are often set up in locations that are believed to be haunted or associated with paranormal activity. The EVPs are classified into different categories based on the clarity and intensity of the recorded voices. Class A EVPs are considered to be the clearest and most easily understood, while Class B and Class C EVPs may be more open to interpretation due to lower audio quality. Skeptics argue that EVPs can be explained by natural phenomena such as radio interference, electronic noise, or the psychological phenomenon of pareidolia, where the human brain perceives meaningful patterns such as voices and random or ambiguous stimuli. Paranormal apparition sightings. Paranormal apparition sightings refer to the reported visual appearances of entities or phenomena that are not readily explainable through conventional means. These sightings often involve the perception of ghostly figures, spirits, or other supernatural entities. While many people claim to have experienced apparition sightings, the scientific community generally approaches such reports with skepticism, attributing them to a variety of psychological, environmental, or cultural factors. Apparitions are typically described as visual manifestations that may resemble human figures or other entities. Witnesses often report seeing transparent or semi-transparent figures, often dressed in clothing from a specific era. The sightings are often associated with haunted locations. People who claim to have encountered apparitions may describe the entities as interacting with the environment, moving through walls, or appearing and disappearing suddenly. Some paranormal enthusiasts categorize apparition sightings based on the nature of the interaction. Residual hauntings involve repetitive actions or images, like a ghostly figure walking a specific path without awareness of the living. Intelligent hauntings suggest that the entity is aware of its surroundings and may interact with those present. Charlie. Charlie Charlie is a simple yet controversial paranormal game that gained popularity on social media, particularly among young people. The game involves attempting to communicate with a supernatural entity named Charlie using a makeshift Ouija board constructed from a sheet of paper and 2 pencils. While the game has been dismissed by many as a harmless and purely fictional activity, it has also stirred controversy and concerns due to its association with the supernatural. To play the game, participants draw a cross on a sheet of paper, creating 4 quadrants. In each quadrant, they write yes or no in alternating order. They then balance one pencil on top of the other, creating a makeshift cross with the pencils. Participants start the game by invoking the spirit of Charlie. Traditionally, this is done by asking Charlie, Charlie, are you there? Or a similar question with the expectation that the pencils will move in response. According to the game's lore, if Charlie is present, the pencils are believed to move to indicate his responses. The movement is often attributed to the supernatural, suggesting that Charlie is communicating through the pencils. Remote viewing. Remote viewing is a practice that involves attempting to gather information about a distant or unseen target, often using extrasensory perception, or ESP, or anomalous cognition. The concept gained popularity in the 1970s and 80s, primarily through the involvement of the US government in research programs like the Stargate Project, which aimed to investigate the military potential of psychic phenomena, including remote viewing. Remote viewing typically follows specific protocols to reduce biases and enhance the accuracy of the information retrieval. These protocols may involve a controlled environment, a designated target, and the use of coordinates or other methods to focus the viewer's attention. Remote viewing gained public attention in the 1970s when it was revealed that the US government had funded research into psychic phenomena under programs like Stargate Project. The project involved various individuals, including remote viewers, attempting to gather information on remote targets for military and intelligence purposes. Some individuals gained prominence for their involvement in the remote viewing programs. Notably, Ingo Swann and Uri Geller were among those associated with early research on psychic phenomena and remote viewing. Fortunetelling. Fortunetelling, also known as divination, is the practice of attempting to gain insight into a person's future or destiny through various mystical or supernatural means. It has a long history and exists in various forms across cultures. Many people turn to fortune tellers for guidance, entertainment, or a sense of reassurance. While some individuals believe in the accuracy of these practices, others approach them with skepticism. Tarot cards are a deck of cards with symbolic images and meanings. During a tarot card reading, a fortune teller shuffles the deck and lays out the cards in a specific pattern or spread. The cards are then interpreted to provide insights into various aspects of the person's life, such as love, career, or personal growth. Astrology involves the study of celestial bodies' position and movements, especially their influence on human affairs and natural events. Horoscopes, based on the positions of the sun, moon, and planets at the time of a person's birth, are commonly used for predicting personality traits and future events. Also known as chiromancy, palmistry involves interpreting the lines, shapes, and mounts on a person's palm. A palmist may claim to reveal information about an individual's character, personality, and future based on the lines and features of the hand. Numerology is the study of mystical significance of numbers. Practitioners assign specific meanings to numbers and use them to analyze various aspects of a person's life. This can include calculating a person's life path number or using numbers associated with names and dates. Scrying or crystal ball gazing involves staring into a crystal ball or another reflective surface to receive visions or insights. The fortune teller interprets the images or symbols perceived in the crystal ball to provide information about the person's future. Runes are ancient alphabets used by various Germanic languages before the adoption of the Latin alphabet. In divination, runes are often inscribed on stones or cards, and the fortune teller interprets their arrangement or casting to provide guidance. Spirit houses. Spirit houses are a cultural and religious phenomenon found in various parts of the world, especially in Southeast Asia. These small structures are typically designed as miniature houses or shrines and are believed to provide shelter and appease spirits, deities, or supernatural beings. The specific practices associated with spirit houses vary across different cultures and religions. These spirits are often believed to influence various aspects of daily life, including the well-being and prosperity of the people living in the vicinity. The houses are most commonly associated with Southeast Asian cultures, including Thai, Lao, Cambodian, and Burmese traditions. However, similar practices exist in other parts of the world, such as the Pacific Islands and parts of Africa. They are typically placed in prominent locations such as in front of homes, businesses, or public spaces. The location is chosen based on the traditional beliefs about auspicious or spiritually significant places. People who maintain spirit houses often make regular offerings to the spirits or deities associated with the house. Offerings may include food, drinks, flowers, incense, and other symbolic items. Rituals and ceremonies are conducted to honor and seek the favor of spirits. The houses are believed to act as intermediaries between the human world and the spirit world, ensuring harmony and balance in that community. Spirit photography. Spirit photography is a practice that gained popularity in the 19th and early 20th centuries, claiming to capture images of ghosts, spirits, or other supernatural entities on photographic film. This phenomenon emerged with the advent of photography and became associated with the spiritualist movement, which believed in the ability to communicate with the spirits of the deceased. One of the most well-known spirit photographers was William H. Mumler, who gained fame in the mid-1800s. Mumler's photographs often featured images of faint, ghostly figures alongside living individuals. His work was controversial, and he faced accusations of fraud, but some people believed in the authenticity of his images. Critics of spirit photography argued that many of the images were the result of photographic techniques such as double exposure, where two images were superimposed on the same photographic plate. Manipulation of the negative during development was also a common method for creating ghostly effects. As photographic technology advanced and skepticism grew about the authenticity of spirit photographs, the credibility of spirit photography declined. ESP. ESP, or extrasensory perception, refers to the ability to acquire information or knowledge beyond ordinary human senses. It implies the reception of information without relying on the traditional senses of sight, hearing, touch, taste, or smell. ESP is often associated with paranormal or psychic phenomena and has been a subject of interest and investigation in both scientific and pseudoscientific contexts. There are four main types of ESP: telepathy, clairvoyance, precognition, and telekinesis or psychokinesis. Telepathy is the ability to perceive thoughts or feelings from another person's mind without the use of known human senses. Clairvoyance is gaining information about an object, location, or event without direct interaction or sensory input. Precognition is perceiving or predicting events that have not yet occurred, and telekinesis or psychokinesis is influencing or moving physical objects without direct physical interaction. ESP has been the subject of numerous scientific studies, especially in parapsychology, which is the branch of psychology that deals with paranormal phenomena. Researchers have conducted experiments to test individuals for telepathic abilities, precognition, and other forms of ESP. However, the scientific community has generally remained skeptical due to the lack of consistent and robust evidence. The scientific method relies on empirical evidence and reproducibility, and ESP phenomena have not demonstrated consistent and reliable results under controlled conditions. Parapsychologists study ESP and related phenomena, but the field has faced criticism for lacking a solid theoretical framework and consistent experimental results. Paranormal scarring. Paranormal scarring as a concept is not widely recognized or documented within mainstream scientific literature. The term is not commonly associated with established paranormal phenomena, and there is limited empirical evidence to support claims of scars or injuries caused by supernatural or paranormal activities. Instead, such notions are often more closely tied to folklore, anecdotal accounts, or paranormal narratives. In some paranormal stories or urban legends, individuals claim to have acquired mysterious scars or markings without any apparent cause or conventional explanation. These stories might be attributed to encounters with supernatural entities, extraterrestrial beings, or otherworldly phenomena. However, it's crucial to approach these claims with a healthy dose of skepticism, as there are various possible explanations for unexplained marks or scars. Skin conditions, allergies, or insect bites can sometimes cause unusual markings on the skin. These can be misinterpreted as paranormal if the individual is not aware of the specific cause. Psychological conditions such as stress, anxiety, and certain types of delusions might lead individuals to believe they have experienced paranormal events or encounters. Individuals may inadvertently cause injuries to themselves, perhaps during sleep or periods of altered consciousness, leading to unexplained markings, and in some cases, individuals may fabricate stories of paranormal scarring for attention, personal reasons, or as part of broader narrative. Kate Morgan. Kate Morgan is a figure associated with the paranormal and famous case in history of the Hotel del Coronado in Coronado, California. The story of Kate Morgan is often cited in discussions of ghostly encounters and hauntings. The basic narrative of Kate Morgan's stories is as follows. In November 1892, a woman named Kate Morgan checked into the Hotel del Coronado under the alias Lottie A. Bernard. She was reportedly waiting for her estranged husband to join her. However, after several days, her husband did not appear, and on November 29, 1892, Kate's lifeless body was discovered on a staircase leading up to the beach. She had a gunshot wound to the head, and a gun was found near her. The circumstances surrounding Kate Morgan's death remain mysterious. While it was initially considered to be self-inflicted, some aspects of the case fueled speculation, and the questions were raised about the possibility of foul play. The hotel staff and guests reported various paranormal occurrences and sightings associated with Kate's presence after her death. Guests and staff members claim to have seen the ghostly figure of a woman believed to be Kate Morgan in and around the hotel. Some reported encounters in the guest room where she had stayed. Cold spots and sudden drops in temperature were reported in areas associated with Kate Morgan's story, contributing to the belief in her lingering presence. Strange noises such as footsteps, doors opening and closing, and the sound of a weeping woman were reported in areas linked to Kate's history. Some guests reported witnessing objects moving on their own, attributed to Kate's ghostly presence. Bloody Mary. Bloody Mary refers to a popular folklore and ghost story game that involves participants summoning a ghostly apparition by repeating the name Bloody Mary multiple times while looking in a mirror. The ritual is often performed in a dark or candlelit room and is said to result in the appearance of a spectral figure in the mirror. The ritual is often conducted in a bathroom. Participants usually dim the lights or use candles to create a spooky atmosphere. While looking in the mirror, participants chant Bloody Mary a specified number of times. The number can vary, and different versions of the game may have different instructions, such as chanting the name a certain number of times or saying it in front of the mirror a specific number of times. According to the legend, after repeating the name, participants are supposed to witness an apparition of a woman named Bloody Mary in the mirror. The apparition is often described as a ghostly figure with a bloody or disfigured face. Quay. Quay is a central figure in a well-known ghost story associated with the historic Shanley Hotel in Napanoch, New York. The Shanley Hotel is reputed to be haunted, and Quay's spirit is said to be one of the entities believed to linger in the building. Quay, as the tale goes, was a young girl who lived at the Shanley Hotel during the early 20th century. According to the legend, she was tragically killed by a horse-drawn carriage while playing on the property. As a result of this untimely demise, her spirit is said to have remained at the hotel, creating a paranormal presence. The ghostly occurrences associated with Quay at the Shanley Hotel include reports of footsteps, disembodied voices, and other mysterious happenings. Visitors and paranormal enthusiasts often share stories of experiencing unexplained phenomena, and Quay is often considered one of the more famous ghosts associated with that hotel. It's important to note that the stories of ghosts and hauntings, including those of Quay, are primarily rooted in folklore and legend. While the Shanley Hotel embraces its reputation as a haunted location and offers paranormal-themed events and tours, there is no scientific evidence supporting the existence of ghosts or paranormal activities. Voodoo Dolls. Voodoo dolls are associated with the practice of voodoo, a religion that originated in West Africa and developed in the Caribbean, particularly in Haiti. While the use of voodoo dolls is a popular and sensationalized aspect of the religion in popular culture, it's essential to understand their significance within the context of voodoo practices. In voodoo, practitioners use various ritual objects to communicate with spirits or deities. Voodoo dolls, known as Quen, are one such representation. Contrary to popular belief, these dolls are not primarily used for harming others but rather as symbolic tools for spiritual connection. Voodoo dolls are often personalized to represent a specific individual. They may be crafted using materials such as clay, cloth, or straw, and items belonging to the person being represented, such as hair or clothing, may be incorporated. The purpose of a voodoo doll is to serve as a focal point for spiritual energy, not necessarily for causing harm. In voodoo, rituals involving the doll aim to establish a connection with spirits or ancestors, seeking their guidance and protection or assistance. Voodoo is a community-oriented religion, and rituals involving voodoo dolls are often conducted within a religious community. These rituals may include dance, music, chanting, and offerings to invoke the presence of spirits. The Flying Dutchman. The Flying Dutchman is a legendary ghost ship that is said to be cursed to sail the seas forever without ever making port. The legend has various nautical and supernatural elements, and the story of the Flying Dutchman has become a part of maritime folklore. The origin of the Flying Dutchman is not precisely known, but it has been part of maritime lore for centuries. The earliest known references date back to the 18th century. The legend has since been passed down through generations of sailors and has inspired various adaptations in literature, music, and popular culture. The central figure in the Flying Dutchman legend is typically the captain of the ship, who is said to have invoked the wrath of a god or the devil. The nature of the curse varies in different versions of the story, but it often involves a defiance of the natural order or a blasphemous act. As a result of the curse, the Flying Dutchman is condemned to sail the seas indefinitely, unable to make port. The ship is often described as being shrouded in eerie, phantom-like lights or surrounded by a ghostly aura. According to superstitions among sailors, encountering the Flying Dutchman is considered an omen of doom. It is believed that sighting the ghost ship brings bad luck or foretells a disaster at sea. In some versions of the legend, crew members aboard the Flying Dutchman are said to be ghosts or souls of sailors who perished at sea. These spectral crew members may be condemned to serve on the ship for eternity. The Bell Witch. The Bell Witch is the name given to a famous American folk legend and alleged poltergeist haunting that took place in the early 19th century in Robertson County, Tennessee. The legend is centered around the Bell family and their encounters with a malevolent entity known as the Bell Witch. The story begins in 1817 when John Bell and his family, including his wife Lucy and their children, settled in a rural area near Adams, Tennessee. The haunting allegedly started with unexplained noises on the Bell property, including knocking sounds and the sound of chains being dragged. The disturbances escalated over time to include physical attacks on family members, with particular attention given to John Bell and his daughter Betsy. One of the most notable features of the Bell Witch haunting was the disembodied voice that identified itself as Kate. This voice supposedly displayed knowledge of private conversations and made predictions and engaged in conversations with family members and visitors. The Bell Witch is said to have physically harmed family members, including scratching, slapping, and pulling hair. John Bell's health reportedly deteriorated and he died in 1820 under mysterious circumstances. The witch reportedly had a strong dislike for Betsy Bell and was involved in thwarting her romantic relationship with a local man named Joshua Gardner. The haunting reportedly came to an end in 1821 after Betsy Bell called off her engagement with Joshua Gardner. The entity claimed it would return in 7 years, which it allegedly did for a brief period. The legend of the Bell Witch is primarily based on eyewitness accounts and historical documents from the time. The most well-known source is the book An Authenticated History of the Bell Witch, written by Martin Van Buren Ingram in 1894. Raggedy and Doll. The paranormal Raggedy Ann doll is often associated with the infamous haunted doll known as Annabelle. The story of Annabelle has become well known due to its inclusion in paranormal investigations and popular culture, particularly through movies. Annabelle is a vintage Raggedy Ann doll known for her red yarn hair and simple innocent appearance. The original Raggedy Ann doll was created by Johnny Gruelle and patented in 1915. The specific Annabelle doll in question was reportedly purchased at a hobby store in the 70s. The doll gained notoriety when it became the center of claims of paranormal activity. According to the story, the doll's owners, a young nurse named Donna and a roommate Angie, began noticing strange occurrences involving Annabelle. The owners initially believed the doll was moving on its own and leaving notes. They contacted a medium who claimed that the spirit of a young girl named Annabelle Higgins was inhabiting the doll. The owners, sympathetic to the spirit, allowed Annabelle to stay. The paranormal activity escalated, and the spirit's behavior became more malevolent. It reportedly attacked Donna's friend Lou and left claw marks on his chest. Fearing for their safety, the owners sought the help of paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren. The Warrens, renowned paranormal investigators, concluded that the doll was not possessed by a human spirit, but rather a demonic entity posing as a harmless spirit. The Warrens took possession of Annabelle and placed her in a glass case where she remains on display at their occult museum in Connecticut. The doll gained further notoriety through its inclusion in the Conjuring film franchise. The first film, titled Annabelle, was released in 2014, and subsequent movies explored the doll's backstory and its connection to paranormal cases investigated by the Warrens. Astral Projection. Astral projection, known as an out-of-body experience or OBE, is a phenomenon in which an individual's consciousness or spirit appears to travel outside the physical body. During astral projection, individuals report the sensation of floating, flying, or moving through space independently of their physical form. This experience is often associated with a sense of heightened awareness and perception. The individual may feel as though they are observing their physical body from a vantage point outside of it. Those who claim to have had astral projection experiences may navigate through their surroundings, often visiting distant locations or exploring non-physical realms. Astral projection experiences are sometimes associated with sleep paralysis, a phenomenon where the individual temporarily experiences the inability to speak or move while transitioning between wakefulness and sleep. Astral projection is often discussed in the context of spiritual and metaphysical beliefs, and some believe that during astral projection the consciousness is free to explore different planes of existence, communicate with spiritual entities, and gain insights into the nature of reality. Various methods and techniques are said to induce this, including meditation, visualization, and specific breathing exercises. Some practitioners also use tools such as binaural beats or guided imagery to facilitate the experience. Robert the Doll. Robert the Doll is a famous haunted doll with a storied history and a reputation for paranormal activity. This eerie doll has become the popular subject of fascination and has even been considered one of the most haunted objects in the world. Robert the Doll was created in the early 20th century by a Bahamian servant and skilled craftsman named Robert Eugene Otto. The doll was given to young Robert as a gift, and they both shared the same name. The doll is approximately 3 feet tall and has a sailor suit with dark hair and button-like eyes. Its overall appearance is considered somewhat unsettling by many. Numerous supernatural claims surround Robert the Doll. The most common story suggests that the doll was used for mysterious and malevolent purposes. Some locals in Key West, Florida, where the doll resides, believe that it is cursed or possessed. According to legends, the young Robert Otto often spoke to the doll and claimed that it responded. The doll was also blamed for mischievous and even malicious behavior, causing incidents and moving around the house on its own. Some stories suggest that the doll was created by a servant skilled in black magic, and it was cursed to bring misfortune to its owners. Others claim that the doll became possessed by the spirit of a restless child who harbored resentment. Today, Robert the Doll is on display at the Fort East Martello Museum in Key West, Florida. The museum staff often receives letters of apology from visitors who believe they have experienced misfortune after taking photographs of the doll without asking permission. According to the local lore, visitors are advised to ask permission before taking a photograph of Robert the Doll. It is believed that failure to seek permission may lead to a curse or bad luck. Some even claim that writing letters of apology to the doll can lift the curse. Hodama. Hodama is a term from Japanese folklore and mythology that refers to a phenomenon where mysterious ghostly flames or orbs are said to appear. The term Hodama translates to human soul or human spirit in English. These ghostly lights are often described as spherical, floating orbs that emit an ethereal glow. Hodama are often mentioned in the context of funerals or death-related folklore. It is said that the appearance of these orbs is a sign that a spirit is in transition from the physical world to the afterlife. The presence of a Hodama is not necessarily considered malevolent. Instead, they are seen as natural and temporary manifestation of the departing spirit. The phenomenon is regarded with a mixture of awe and respect. Nang Takon. Nang Takon, also known as the Lady of Takon, is a spirit or female ghost in Thai folklore. The legend of Nang Takon is associated with the sacred old tree, often referred to as the Takon tree, where the spirit is believed to reside. The legend has cultural significance in Thailand and is often told as a cautionary tale. In some versions of the story, Nang Takon is portrayed as a benevolent guardian spirit of the forest or a protector of the Takon tree. People believe that disturbing the tree or disrespecting the spirit may lead to misfortune. Nang Takon is sometimes attributed with supernatural abilities such as the power to shapeshift or to influence the well-being of the local community. The spirit may be invoked for blessings or protection. Jungi. Jungi, also known as hopping vampires or hopping zombies, are mythical creatures in Japanese folklore. Unlike the Western concept of zombies, Jungi are reanimated corpses that move by hopping, often with their arms outstretched. They are typically associated with Taoist beliefs, and the concept of hopping is thought to be a result of rigor mortis. Jungi are often depicted wearing Qing Dynasty clothing and have a stiff, upright posture. They are often associated with the reanimation of corpses due to the improper burial or unfinished business. Folklore often includes methods to prevent or capture Jungi. These methods may involve placing protective talismans on corpses or using certain herbs and rituals. While Jungi share similarities within Western vampire legends, such as a thirst for life force or blood, they are distinct entities with unique characteristics. Possession. Demonic possession is a concept found in various religious and cultural traditions, often involving the belief that an individual's body or mind is under control of a malevolent spiritual entity, typically referred to as a demon or evil spirit. The idea of demonic possession is deeply rooted in religious and mythological narratives and has been the subject of fascination, fear, and controversy throughout history. In Christianity, for example, demonic possession is mentioned in the New Testament, where Jesus is described as casting out demons from individuals. Commonly reported symptoms include drastic personality changes, speaking in unknown languages, superhuman strength, aversion to sacred symbols or objects, and knowledge of hidden or distant information. Many religious traditions have rituals and practices for exorcism, the process of expelling a demon or evil spirit from a possessed individual. Exorcisms are often performed by religious authorities, such as priests or shamans, using prayers, rituals, and sacred symbols. Okiku. Okiku is a legendary figure in Japanese folklore known for her tragic story associated with a haunted well and a cursed air. The tale of Okiku has been adapted and retold in various forms, including kabuki plays, novels, and films. The story is said to have originated during the Edo period in Japan and has since become a popular and enduring ghost story. The tale is often set in Himeji Castle, though variations of the story may place it in different locations. Himeji Castle is one of Japan's most iconic castles and is known for its historical significance and architectural beauty. Okiku is portrayed as a young and beautiful servant who worked in the household of Aoyama Tasan, a samurai and retainer of Lord Hosokawa. Aoyama Tasan had entrusted Okiku with a set of 10 precious plates but Okiku accidentally broke one of them. In some variations of the story, the broken plate is also said to be a valuable family heirloom. Afraid of the consequences, Okiku tried to hide the broken plate, but her actions were discovered by a fellow servant or a jealous rival, depending on the story. The deceitful individual accused Okiku of stealing and hiding the missing plate. Oyama-san, believing the false accusation, punished Okiku harshly. It is said that she was tortured and eventually thrown down a well to her death. Following her death, Okiku's vengeful spirit is said to have haunted the well, counting from 1 to 9 in a sorrowful voice. The ghostly counting is often described as eerie and chilling. The Lady in Red. The Lady in Red is a popular and widespread motif in various forms of folklore, mythology, literature, and popular culture. The image typically evokes a sense of mystery, romance, or tragedy. While there isn't a single specific story or character universally known as the Lady in Red, variations of this archetype appear in different cultural contexts. In paranormal and ghost stories, the Lady in Red is sometimes depicted as a spectral figure, often associated with tragedy or violent death. Legends of haunted locations may include a Lady in Red haunting a specific area, with her appearance believed to foretell misfortune. Lady in Red is sometimes linked to historical tragedies such as shipwrecks, fires, or wars. In some urban legends, the Lady in Red may be a hitchhiker or a ghostly figure encountered on desolate roads. The person who encounters her may offer her a ride only to discover that she has disappeared, leaving behind a sense of foreboding. The Greenbrier Ghost. The Greenbrier Ghost is a famous ghost story and legal case from the late 19th century in West Virginia. The story involves around the death of Elva Zona Heister Shue, who was found dead in her home in Greenbrier County in 1897. Initially, her death was ruled as everlasting faint or childbirth, and a local doctor, who was also Shue's husband, declared that she died of natural causes. However, Elva's mother, Mary Jane Heister, was convinced that her daughter's death was suspicious. She claimed that Elva's ghost appeared to her, revealing that she had been murdered by her husband, Edward Shue. According to Mary Jane, the ghost told her that Shue had broken her neck. Mary Jane's persistence led to an autopsy which revealed that Elva had indeed died from a broken neck. Edward Shue was arrested and later convicted of murder. The case gained national attention as it was one of the first instances in the United States where testimony from a ghost played a significant role in a murder trial. Krahong. The Krahong is a mythical creature in Thai folklore, often depicted as a malevolent spirit or ghost. It is commonly associated with black magic and is believed to be summoned through occult practices. The Krahong is often described as a male spirit with a disheveled appearance. It is said to have a frightening and intimidating look, with long disheveled hair and a pale ghostly complexion. The Krahong is believed to be created through supernatural means, often involving dark magic rituals. It is said that individuals who practice black magic or engage in forbidden occult activities may create or summon the Krahong to carry out their malevolent intentions. Given its reputation for malevolence, various protective measures are taken to guard against the Krahong. These may include charms, amulets, or rituals performed by practitioners of white magic or spiritual leaders. Banjakri and Banjakrini. Banjakri and Banjakrini are revered spiritual figures in the belief systems of some communities in the Indian state of Sikkim, particularly among the Nepali-speaking population. These figures are associated with shamanistic practices, traditional rituals, and the worship of nature spirits. Banjakri is often considered a male spirit or a shamanic figure with healing powers. The term Banjakri is sometimes translated as forest shaman or jungle shaman. Banjakri is believed to have a deep connection with nature, and his powers are often associated with the elements, plants, and the forest. He is seen as a guardian spirit and mediator between the human world and the spirit world. Devotees may engage in rituals and ceremonies to invoke the blessings of Banjakri. These rituals often take place in natural settings such as forests or near waterfalls, emphasizing the connection between the spiritual and natural realms. Banjakrini is the female counterpart to Banjakri. She is also associated with healing and protective powers. Banjakrini is often depicted as a nature spirit, and her attributes may include a deep affinity with plants, water, and other elements of the natural world. The Banjakrini is symbolically important in representing the balance and harmony between the masculine and feminine energies in nature. Together with Banjakri, they are believed to bring about healing and well-being. Mediumship. Mediumship refers to the practice of individuals known as mediums who claim to have the ability to communicate with spirits or entities from the spirit world. This concept is deeply rooted in various spiritual and religious traditions and has been a part of human nature for centuries. There are different types of mediums, each with its own approach. Some mediums claim to communicate with spirits through clairvoyance, clairaudience, or other psychic abilities. Mediums employ various methods to facilitate communication with spirits. This can include trance states, where the medium allows a spirit to temporarily take control of their consciousness, or using divination tools such as crystal balls, tarot cards, and pendulums. Spirits are believed to convey messages through mediums, and these messages may be personal, offering guidance, comfort, or closure to the living, or they may involve broader spiritual insights. Despite skepticism, mediumship continues to be practiced today. Many people seek the services of mediums for various reasons, including connecting with deceased loved ones, seeking guidance, or exploring spiritual dimensions. Napo. Napo, also known as the Faceless Ghost or No Face, is a creature from Japanese folklore. The term napara is derived from the verb naparu, which means to flatten or to smooth, emphasizing the featureless nature of the creature's face. Instead of a normal face, it appears as if the skin is smooth and featureless. This can be particularly unsettling for those who encounter it. Napo usually appears in human form, often a beautiful woman, to lure unsuspecting individuals. It may take on the appearance of someone familiar to the observer. As implied, the Napo is known for its deceptive behavior. It often approaches individuals under the guise of a friend, a family member, or a beautiful stranger, only to reveal its facelessness at a later moment. The aim is to frighten or startle the person rather than causing harm. Encounters with the Napo are typically described as eerie or unsettling rather than overtly dangerous. The creature may vanish or reveal its faceless nature before disappearing. Ubume. Ubume is a supernatural entity from Japanese folklore, and the term can be translated as pregnant woman or ghost of a woman who died in childbirth. The Ubume is often associated with tragic tales of maternal love and compassion. The backstory of Ubume typically involves a woman who dies during childbirth or under tragic circumstances related to pregnancy. The spirit may return from the afterlife, lingering in the mortal realm due to unfinished business or a deep concern for her child. In many Ubume stories, the ghostly figure approaches living individuals, particularly mothers or families seeking assistance for her child. This may involve asking for breast milk or aid in caring for the infant left behind. The ghostly mother is portrayed as a figure who deeply cares for her child even in death, reflecting the cultural importance placed on the mother-child bond. These tales serve as cautionary narratives or explore themes of compassion, empathy, and the consequences of tragic circumstances. Arang Minyak. Arang Minyak, which translates to oily man in Malay, is a mythical figure in Malaysian folklore. The legend of the Arang Minyak centers around a mysterious and malevolent creature with supernatural abilities, often associated with acts of violence. The creature is said to be covered in an oily, slippery substance, rendering it difficult to catch. The Arang Minyak is described as a dark, humanoid figure covered in a layer of oily or greasy substance, making it difficult for anyone to grab or restrain the creature. In some variations of the legend, Arang Minyak is depicted as being naked, adding to the eerie and unsettling nature of the character. It is said to possess the ability to turn invisible, making it elusive and difficult to apprehend, and is believed to move at an exceptionally fast pace, allowing it to escape from pursuers easily. The legend often portrays the creature as a nocturnal prowler that terrorizes communities during the night. In some versions of the story, it is suggested that the Arang Minyak is a result of black magic or supernatural rituals, with the creature being sent to carry out the bidding of a malevolent sorcerer. Preta. In Hindu mythology, a preta is a type of supernatural being, often translated as hungry ghost or departed spirit. Pretas are believed to be the restless and tormented spirits of deceased individuals who experience excessive desire, greed, or attachment during their lifetimes. They are considered to be in an unfortunate state, experiencing suffering and hunger. Pretas are often depicted with emaciated and gaunt appearances, emphasizing their hunger and suffering. In some representations, they may have large bellies and thin necks, highlighting their inability to satisfy their desires. This suffering is a result of negative actions, particularly excessive attachment and greed, committed during their earthly lives. In Hindu cosmology, Pretas are believed to inhabit a specific realm or plane of existence known as the Preta Loka. This is one of the 6 realms of existence in the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. The state of being a Preta is considered a result of negative karma accumulated in past lives. The suffering endured by Pretas is believed to be a consequence of their own actions, particularly those related to selfishness and craving. In Hindu traditions, people may perform rituals and make offerings to appease Pretas and alleviate their suffering. This is often done during ceremonies such as Pitru Paksha, a fortnight dedicated to paying homage to one's ancestors. Bilocation. Bilocation is a phenomenon in which an individual is said to be or appears to be in 2 different places at the same time. It is often associated with supernatural and paranormal occurrences and is reported in various religious, mystical, and mystical traditions. Bilocation has been attributed to certain saints, mystics, and spiritual figures in various religious traditions. In Catholicism, for example, there are accounts of saints, such as Saint Padre Pio and Saint Alphonsus Liguori, being observed in two different locations simultaneously. Outside of religious contexts, there are anecdotal accounts of bilocation associated with paranormal or supernatural events. Individuals have claimed to witness or experience being in two places at once. While there are numerous historical and anecdotal accounts of bilocation like we've already gone over, there is a lack of scientific evidence to support the phenomenon. The scientific community generally views such claims with skepticism, often attributing them to psychological or perceptual factors. Huntu Raya. Huntu Raya is a term that originates from the Malay folklore and translates to Great Ghost or Big Ghost in English. In the context of Malay mythology, Huntu Raya is often associated with supernatural entities or malevolent spirits that are believed to be particularly powerful and fearsome. Huntu Raya is typically regarded as a potent and formidable spirit, often possessing greater strength and capabilities than ordinary ghosts or spirits in Malay folklore. While the specific attributes and actions of Huntu Raya may vary, it is generally considered a malevolent entity that can cause harm, misfortune, or even pose a threat to individuals. These tales may be told to convey moral lessons, instill cultural values, or serve as cautionary narratives. In some cultural practices, individuals may perform rituals or ceremonies to seek protection from Huntu Raya. This can include reciting prayers, using talismans, or engaging in specific rituals to ward off malevolent spirits. Pelet. In Malay folklore, a Pelet is a supernatural creature associated with black magic and mysticism. The Pelet is often described as a small, invisible spirit or familiar, which is said to be controlled by a practitioner of black magic known as a bomo or dukun. The Pelet is believed to be invisible to the naked eye. It is said to take on a spectral form, making it difficult for ordinary people to detect. When invisible, it is often described as taking the form of a small animal, such as a grasshopper, cricket, or a small bird. The Pelet is said to be under control of a bomo or dukun, who uses it for nefarious purposes. In response to the belief in the Pelet's malevolent actions, individuals may employ various protective measures to ward off such spirits. These can include the use of talismans, charms, or seeking the assistance of traditional healers. La Llorona. La Llorona, also known as the Weeping Woman, is a prominent figure in Latin American folklore. Her legend is widely shared across various Hispanic cultures, with variations in the details of the story. The tale of La Llorona is often used as a cautionary and morality story, warning children to behave and obey their parents. The legend typically revolves around a woman named Maria or a woman with a similar name. Maria is often depicted as a beautiful woman who falls in love with a man, but he is unfaithful and abandons her. Overwhelmed by grief, betrayal, and despair, Maria commits a terrible act such as drowning her children in a river. After realizing the gravity of her actions and irreversible consequences of her deeds, Maria is condemned to wander Earth in a ghostly form. Her spirit is tormented, and she is often described as searching for her lost children, forever weeping and wailing. La Llorona is said to appear near bodies of water, such as rivers and lakes, searching for her children. Some versions of the legend suggest that she might also try to target other children, believing them to be her own. Parents might use the story to encourage good behavior by emphasizing the consequences of making poor choices. Mary Celeste. The Mary Celeste is a famous maritime mystery associated with the discovery of an American merchant ship found adrift and abandoned in the Atlantic Ocean. The incident has sparked speculation and numerous theories since the ship was found deserted in 1872. On December 4, 1872, the Mary Celeste was discovered drifting off the Azores Islands in the Atlantic Ocean by the British brigantine De Gratia. The ship was in seaworthy condition, with its sails partially set and a cargo of alcohol and industrial equipment intact. There were no signs of struggle or violence. The crew's personal belongings, including valuables, were left behind, and the ship's lifeboat was missing. The entire crew of the Mary Celeste, including the captain, Benjamin S. Briggs, his wife, and their young daughter, was missing. The mystery of the Mary Celeste remains unsolved. Despite extensive investigations, no definitive explanation for the crew's disappearance has ever been determined. The ship's chronometer suggested that the crew had left ship only a short time before it was discovered. Over the years, numerous theories have been proposed to explain the crew's disappearance, including piracy, mutiny, an explosion, or an attack by a sea monster. However, none of these theories have been proven, and the fate of the crew remains a mystery. Madame Kooi. Lady Kooi is an urban legend that has circulated in various African countries, particularly Nigeria and South Africa. The legend typically involves a mysterious and supernatural woman, often referred to as Lady Kooi, who is said to roam the streets at night, preying on unsuspecting individuals. The details of the legend may vary, but there are common elements found in different versions of the story. Lady Kooi is often described as a beautiful woman who appears normal at first glance. However, in some versions, her feet are said to be turned backward. She may be encountered by individuals walking alone after dark in deserted or quiet areas. She is known for her deceptive attacks. She may approach unsuspecting individuals, often portraying herself as a lost or distressed woman in need of assistance. The consequences of encountering Lady Kooi can vary in different versions of the legend. Some stories suggest that those who encounter her may face misfortune, illness, or even death. Lady Kooi legend is often used as a cautionary tale to warn people, especially children, against wandering the streets alone at night. Parents or older individuals may use the story to instill a sense of caution and prevent risky behavior. Penanggalan. The Penanggalan, also known as the Hantu Penanggal, is a mythical creature in Southeast Asian folklore, particularly in Malaysia, Indonesia, and Thailand. It is often described as a female spirit or supernatural being with the ability to detach its head and organs from its body. It's typically associated with dark and malevolent forces, and its nocturnal activities are the stuff of local legends. The Penanggalan is said to appear as an ordinary woman during the day. However, at night, it acquires the ability to detach its head and organs, which are connected to the body by viscera, leaving the empty torso behind. The detached head of the Penanggalan is believed to fly freely in search of victims. In some versions of the legend, the head is described as having sharp fangs or teeth, and it may emit a faint, eerie glow. It's most active during the night, especially during the full moon, and it is believed to seek out pregnant women or newborn babies as its preferred victims. The primary motive of the Penanggalan is to feed on the blood of its victims. It may use its elongated proboscis to pierce the belly of pregnant women and drink blood from the fetus, causing harm or death. Various folk beliefs and practices are associated with protecting oneself from the Penanggalan. This may include using thorny plants, such as thistles or bamboo spikes, to surround the house, or by placing items believed to have protective properties around the house like garlic. Muma Paduri. Muma Paduri, or literally translated as the Mother of the Forest in Romanian, is a mythical figure in Romanian folklore, particularly associated with the dense and mysterious forests of the Carpathian Mountains. Muma Paduri is often depicted as a supernatural being, a forest spirit, or a witch, who guards the secrets of the woods and punishes those who disrespect or harm nature. The appearance of Muma Paduri may vary in different folktales, but she is often portrayed as an old, haggard woman with wild, unkempt hair and dark, tattered clothing. Her appearance reflects the primal and untamed nature of the forest. Those who show respect for nature and follow certain rules may be rewarded, while those who harm the environment or disrespect the forest may face consequences, as she is known to dish out. These punishments may include curses, illness, or other misfortunes. In some stories, she may transform the people into animals or plants as a form of retribution. People can leave offerings in the forest, such as bread, salt, or other items, as a gesture of respect to Muma Paduri. This was done to seek her protection and ensure a safe passage through the woods. Arang Madan. The Arang Madan is a maritime mystery and urban legend that gained prominence in the mid-20th century. The story revolves around the alleged discovery of a ship, the SS Arang Madan, under mysterious circumstances. While the tale has captivated the imagination of many, it is widely considered a maritime legend with questionable authenticity. According to the legend, in the late 1940s, two American vessels, the City of Baltimore and the Silver Star, reportedly received distress signals from the Dutch merchant ship SS Arang Madan in the waters of the Strait of Malacca. The distress signals indicated to the crews that the crew of the Arang Madan was in trouble. The messages reportedly claimed that the captain and the crew were all dead, and the nature of their emergency was described as something unknown. When the Silver Star reached the location provided in the distress call and boarded the Arang Madan, they allegedly discovered a chilling scene. The entire crew of the Arang Madan, including the captain, officers, and crew members, were found dead under mysterious circumstances. The crew members were said to have expressions of terror on their faces, and there were no signs of external injuries. Even the ship's dog was found dead. The cause of death was never officially determined, and the theories ranged from poison gas to supernatural causes. According to some versions of the legend, after the Silver Star crew boarded the Arang Madan, the ship caught fire and exploded, sinking rapidly. No official documentation, such as logbooks or distress messages, have been found to support the existence of the ship or the reported events. The Headless Nun. The tale of the Headless Nun is a ghost story that has been told in various forms in different cultures. One of the most well-known versions involves a haunted convent or a monastery and a tragic nun who met a gruesome fate. The story typically involves a nun who faced tragedy or committed a sin within the walls of a convent. The nature of the tragedy may vary, but it often includes themes of betrayal, forbidden love, or a terrible accident. In many versions of the legend, the nun meets a particularly gruesome end, often involving beheading. The ghost of the Headless Nun is said to wander the halls or grounds of a convent or monastery, seeking redemption or justice for the wrongdoing that led to her untimely death. Her spectral form is often described as headless, carrying her severed head or appearing as a figure without a face. The ghostly nun may be associated with various haunting manifestations such as eerie sounds, mysterious lights, or apparitions witnessed by those who enter the haunted location. The Vanishing Hitchhiker. The Vanishing Hitchhiker is a classic urban legend that has been told in various forms across different cultures. The story typically involves a person driving late at night who picks up a hitchhiker, often a young woman, and gives her a ride to a specified location. After dropping off the hitchhiker, the driver later discovers that the person has vanished or died years before. The story often begins with the driver traveling alone late at night who encounters a hitchhiker along the roadside. The driver, out of kindness or sympathy, decides to pick up the hitchhiker and offers them a ride. The hitchhiker provides the driver with the destination, and during the journey they may engage in conversation. Upon reaching the specified location, the hitchhiker disappears from the car. The driver, puzzled and sometimes disturbed, investigates further and discovers that the hitchhiker matches the description of a person who died years earlier. The hitchhiker is revealed to be a ghost or a spirit seeking a ride to their intended destination. The driver unwittingly provided assistance to a supernatural being. Wizard Clip. The legend of Wizard Clip is associated with the paranormal activity and a haunted house in Prince William County, Virginia. The tale centers around a ghostly apparition and a series of mysterious events that took place in the 19th century. The legend is often considered one of the region's notable ghost stories. The legend is tied to the Weems family who owned the property. In particular, the ghostly figure is associated with a young woman named Fanny who was a member of the Weems family. According to the legend, Fanny fell in love with a British soldier during the Revolutionary War. The soldier was stationed in Dumfries and their secret romance led to tragedy. Fanny's affair was discovered and the Weems family sought to put an end to the relationship. In the course of events, Fanny was either killed or took her own life in despair. After Fanny's death, the house was said to be haunted by her spirit, and various paranormal activities were reported. Witnesses claimed to have seen a ghostly figure, and strange noises and unexplained occurrences were attributed to Fanny's lingering presence. The name Wizard Clip comes from a particular incident where Taylor was mending a cloak. As he worked, he claimed that the scissors inexplicably flew out of his hand and cut a piece of the fabric, as if by an invisible force or magic. The incident gave rise to the name Wizard Clip for the ghostly presence in the house. Tuyul. The term Tuyul or Toyol is used in Southeast Asian folklore, particularly in Malay and Indonesian cultures, to describe a supernatural being or spirit. The concept of Tuyul is deeply rooted in local beliefs and traditions. The Tuyul is often depicted as a small humanoid creature resembling a child. It is said to have a childlike appearance with a bald head and large round eyes. Some descriptions suggest that it has pointed ears and sharp teeth. It is believed to be some sort of supernatural being that can be summoned or controlled through magical practices. In some versions of the folklore, it is said to be created from the spirit of a deceased fetus or stillborn child. It is said to have the ability to steal or collect valuables, money, or other items on behalf of its master. People use the Toyo are believed to do so for personal gain, wealth, or to harm others. The creature is typically kept in a jar or container, and the owner can command it to perform tasks. However, controlling it often involves performing specific rituals and making offerings. It may be used to guard a household or business against supernatural threats. However, failure to properly care for or control it may result in negative consequences or punishment from the spirit. Huntu Air. In Malay and Indonesian folklore, the term Huntu Air refers to a type of supernatural entity associated with bodies of water, such as rivers, lakes, or ponds. The term Hantu translates to ghost or spirit. Air means water in Malay and Indonesian. The Huntu Air is believed to be a water spirit, ghost with mystical attributes, and often carries a sense of mystery and danger. The Huntu Air is said to reside in bodies of water, including rivers, lakes, or other aquatic environments. It is often associated with specific locations known for their natural beauty or treacherous waters. The appearance of the Huntu Air can vary in different folklore accounts. Some describe it as a beautiful and enchanting being, while others depict it as a more ominous and frightening figure. In some versions, the Huntu Air may have a supernatural glow or radiance. It's often associated with luring or tricking unsuspecting individuals, particularly those who approach the water. It may appear as a beautiful person to entice people closer to the water's edge. There are accounts suggesting that the Huntu Air has the ability to transform its appearance. The shape-shifting ability is a common theme in many supernatural folklore traditions. Communities living near bodies of water may have rituals, taboos, or offerings aimed at appeasing or avoiding encounters with these water spirits. Kuntilanak. In Indonesian folklore, the kuntilanak is a female ghost or spirit often associated with vengeful behavior and supernatural occurrences. The legend of the kuntilanak is widespread across Southeast Asian countries, including Indonesia and Malaysia. The kuntilanak is believed to be the spirit of a woman who died during childbirth or a woman who experienced a tragic death. In some versions of the legend, she may be associated with infanticide, or a woman who died due to betrayal or injustice. She is a beautiful woman with long, flowing hair, dressed in white or traditional kabaya, a traditional blouse dress. Her appearance may seem normal at first glance, but there is a supernatural aspect to her character. Known for her vengeful nature, she may seek revenge for her untimely death or for the wrongdoings committed against her. One distinctive characteristic of the kuntilanak is her ability to mimic the cries of a baby. This serves as a lure to attract unsuspecting victims, leading them into potentially dangerous situations. She is known for having long, sharp nails or fangs which she uses to harm or terrify her victims. In some traditions, the kuntilanak is associated with a particular type of tree, such as a banyan tree. It is believed that she resides in or near these trees, adding a supernatural element to the legend. Sundel Bolong. Sundel Bolong is a well-known ghost or spirit in Indonesian folklore. The name Sundel Bolong can be translated to prostitute with a hole in English, and the legend is characterized by a female ghost with a mysterious hole or wound in her back. The supernatural entity is often depicted in traditional ghost stories, urban legends, and horror tales. She is described as a beautiful woman with long hair, often wearing a glowing white gown. The hole is said to be the result of a violent incident that led to her death. In many versions, she was a young woman who experienced a violent death, such as murder. She has a seductive and alluring nature. She may appear to men isolated or in dimly lit areas, luring them with her beauty before revealing her ghostly form and the hole in her back. It serves as a cautionary tale about the consequences of immoral or violent actions, especially toward women. Folk beliefs associated with Sundel Bolong often include rituals or practices aimed at preventing encounters with the spirit. This may involve using protective talismans, reciting prayers, or avoiding certain locations. Longsayar. Longsuar, or Pontianak, is a female vampiric ghost or spirit in Malay and Indonesian folklore. The supernatural entity is often associated with folklore in Malaysia, Indonesia, and other parts of Southeast Asia. While the terms Langsur and Pontianak are often used interchangeably, they may sometimes be associated with slightly different characteristics or regional variations. A Langsur is believed to be the spirit of a woman who died during childbirth or due to tragic circumstances. In some versions, a woman who died with unfulfilled desires or unfulfilled vows may become a Langsur. It is described as a beautiful woman with long flowing hair dressed in a white gown. Her appearance may seem normal at first, but she is said to have long, sharp fingernails and a vampiric nature. She feeds on the blood of infants or young children. In some versions of the legend, describe her as having the ability to transform into a bird. SS Baekhymo. The SS Baekhymo was a cargo ship that became famous as a ghost ship after being abandoned and left adrift in the Arctic Ocean. The story of the Baekhymo is one of the most enduring maritime mysteries and tales of survival. It was a steel-hulled cargo steamer built in Sweden in 1914. It was originally named the Angermanelfen and later purchased by Hudson's Bay Company in 1921. The ship primarily operated in the Arctic regions, transporting goods and supplies. In October 1931, the Baekhymo became trapped in pack ice off the coast of Alaska. The crew evacuated the ship, believing it would be crushed by the ice. However, the ship did not sink and later broke free. Despite being abandoned, the Baekhymo remained afloat and continued to drift in the Arctic waters. Over the following decades, the ship was sighted multiple times, floating unmanned and appearing as a ghost ship. It became the subject of various expeditions and rescue attempts. The ship was elusive due to its movements in the ice. The last confirmed sighting of the Baekhymo was in 1969 off the coast of Alaska. Despite efforts to locate and salvage the ship, it was never seen again. Its ultimate fate remains unknown and is presumed to have either sunk or become buried in the ice. The Jinni. The Jinni is often associated with the ghost ship known as the Jinni or Jinni schooner. The story of the Jinni is a maritime legend and ghost ship tale. While there are variations of the legend, one of the most famous stories involves a schooner named the Jinni that was found drifting at sea under mysterious circumstances. In some versions of the story, the Jinni is described as being in a perfect state of preservation, with everything on board appearing as if the crew had simply vanished. The tables may be set, personal belongings may be in place, and there are no signs of struggle or distress. Like many maritime legends, the story of the Jinni schooner has been adapted and retold in various forms over the years. Pocong. Pocong is a traditional Indonesian and Malay ghost or spirit that is a part of the folklore in these regions. The Pocong is often associated with death and burial rituals, and is known for its distinctive appearance and characteristics. It's typically depicted as a ghost wrapped in a burial shroud or white fabric known as a kain kafan. The fabric is tightly bound around the body, including the head, leaving only the face exposed. The Pocong is said to move by hopping or bouncing, as its legs are bound by the burial cloth. It's believed to be the spirit of a deceased person whose soul has not yet been released from the body or burial shroud. It's associated with individuals who have not received proper burial rites, or who have unfinished business in the mortal realm. In Indonesian and Malay cultures, it is customary to wrap the deceased in a burial shroud before placing them in a grave. The binding of the body is done to symbolize the transition from the earthly life to the afterlife. And that's all for part 1 of this iceberg, so until next time, adios, Sparky out, don't forget to subscribe.